Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Bree's Practical English. I'm your American English teacher, Bree. Thank you for joining me today. So, if you don't know, I'm actually 6 months pregnant with my second child, and I live in Japan. So, I am going through pregnancy and going to give birth in a foreign country, in a foreign language. And I did that with my firstborn as well. So I really know what it's like to need to know vocabulary and expressions in another language in order to feel comfortable. I really know firsthand what that's like. So I'm making this video to give you pregnancy vocabulary in English because maybe you are pregnant and you might be giving birth in America or Canada or another English-speaking country, or maybe your partner is pregnant. So I really hope this video will help a lot of people who need to give birth in English. So like I said, I know firsthand what it feels like to give birth in a foreign country, in a foreign language. It can be stressful, it can be worrisome, and you want to feel as comfortable as you can and in control. And I hope this lesson will help you feel comfortable and more in control. In this lesson, I'm including words that I think are very important for giving birth and being pregnant. However, there are many, many words that I could explain. So I'm putting the rest of the vocabulary on my blog. It'll be a full list with example sentences and explanations. So if you want to go to Bree's English Studio, my blog, there you can get the whole list and explanation and everything over there. So we're going to be talking about pregnancy vocabulary in English. Let's take a look at the lesson. Okay, so first up on the screen, I have something here. Maybe you have this in your home country, something similar looking. We call this a pregnancy test or a home pregnancy test. So this is what you can use at home to determine if you are pregnant. Generally, 2 lines means you're pregnant. And here we just have a pregnant woman in all of her glory. First word, we're going to start off really easy. The word is pregnancy. Pronunciation, pregnancy, pregnancy, okay? So it means the state of carrying a developing fetus in the womb. Here we have the word fetus. Fetus is a more medical term to talk about a small unborn baby in the mother's womb. We also have womb here. So we have 2 words, womb and uterus. They mean the same thing. Basically, it's where the baby is growing, okay? Here we have an example sentence. She announced her pregnancy during the family gathering, okay? And then we have some additional information. Pregnancy usually lasts about 40 weeks from the first day of the last menstrual period and is divided into 3 trimesters. Okay, so we count 3 trimesters and pregnancy lasts about 40 weeks. It's very interesting because in America, in the US, we say 40 weeks is 9 months. Okay, but in other countries, like I live in Japan, they say 10 months. So, it's not an exact number, right? Like 40 weeks it's a little bit more than 9 months, a little bit less than 10 months. So it's kind of, I guess if you count weeks, it's more accurate, but 40 weeks, okay? Here's the word trimester. We just saw it on the last page. Trimester. One of the 3 stages of pregnancy, each lasting about 3 months, okay? So be here before you're pregnant, then first trimester, a little bit pregnant, second trimester, getting a little bigger, third trimester, you're ready, almost ready to give birth. Then we have something that recently people like to use the term fourth trimester. So after the baby's born, you have another period of 3 months of getting used to the baby. But that's not an official term. Okay, let's look at our sentence. Morning sickness is common in the first trimester of pregnancy. We'll get to the word morning sickness. Some additional information. The first trimester covers weeks 1 through 12. The second trimester is weeks 13 to 26. And the third trimester is from week 27 until birth. Here we go. Morning sickness. If you look at this illustration here, you might be able to guess what morning sickness is. Morning sickness is nausea and vomiting that many pregnant people experience, especially during the early stages of pregnancy. Okay, so nausea, this is nausea and vomiting. Nausea is the feeling of feeling like you're going to throw up, feeling like you're going to vomit. Vomiting is actually whatever is in your stomach comes back up, right? In this picture, she looks very pregnant, like almost 9 months pregnant. But usually most people who experience morning sickness, they get it in the first trimester. So usually you don't even look pregnant yet. You just feel sick. I had very bad morning sickness. That is one reason why I couldn't post many videos. I'm finally feeling better, but I had morning sickness into my second trimester. A lot of people only have it in the first trimester. Some people don't have it at all. So if you don't have morning sickness, I'm very jealous. But yeah, it's a very hard part of early pregnancy. And if you're pregnant now and you have morning sickness, I feel your pain. I couldn't keep anything down. I was vomiting a lot. Our example sentence: she keeps ginger tea with her to help with morning sickness. And then we have some additional information at the bottom. Despite its name, morning sickness can happen at any time of the day. I don't know what they call it in your language, but in English, for some reason, they call it morning sickness. I had morning sickness, but it was throughout the entire day, morning, afternoon, night, middle of the night, always feeling very sick. So I don't know who decided morning sickness was the correct term, but that's what we say in English. Okay, next we have ultrasound. When you are pregnant, you will get many ultrasounds to see your baby. It's very interesting. I think in the US, you don't get an ultrasound every doctor's visit. But in Japan, when I go to the doctors, every single time I have an ultrasound. So they're always checking the baby, meaning a medical test that uses sound waves to create an image of the fetus in the womb. So remember, fetus is the term for an unborn baby, and womb is the place inside the tummy where the fetus is growing, where the baby is growing. I would be careful about using the word fetus because when we're talking like in medical terms or in general, it's okay to say fetus. But I do have a private English student who asks me, "How is your fetus doing?" And that sounds a little bit cold, a little bit strange to me. Usually we say, "How is your baby doing?" Fetus sounds kind of like a cold medical term, like disconnected from what the mother is experiencing. So if you're talking to a mother or you're talking about your own baby, we just say baby. Okay, our example sentence. The couple was excited to see their baby during the ultrasound appointment. So here's what it looks like. This is an ultrasound. They use this thing. They put some like gel on your tummy, on your stomach, and then they move it around and they can see your baby. That is an ultrasound. Okay. Additional information. Ultrasounds can help determine the baby's gender, check for complications, and monitor growth. So ultrasounds are a very important part of having a baby. Our next word is due date. Due date. We often hear this word related to other things. For example, your homework's due date is tomorrow. When we talk about pregnancy, the due date is the estimated date when the baby is expected to be born. Our example sentence, her due date is marked on the calendar as March 15th. So if you are pregnant and watching this video, or your wife or your girlfriend, your partner is pregnant, please leave in the comments, what is your baby's due date? Or you can even tell me if you're not pregnant and you're just watching this video, what was your due date? Do you know when you were supposed to be born? When my mom was pregnant with me, my due date was July 5th, but I didn't come until July 17th, so I waited a while. Okay, our additional info. The due date is usually calculated as 40 weeks from the first day of the last menstrual period. Contractions. You can kind of see by the image what that might be. Contractions. Contractions are also a very important part of giving birth, okay? So let's read the meaning. The tightening of muscles in the uterus, often signaling the start of labor. So once you start having contractions, they're like little pains, not little pains. They start off little and they get more intense and closer together. Those are contractions. She felt her first contractions late at night and called the doctor. Okay, if you start feeling contractions, call your doctor. Okay, contractions can vary in intensity and frequency, and timing them can help determine when it's time to go to the hospital. So if your contractions are getting closer and closer together, time-wise, then it's time to probably go to the hospital, give birth. Labor. Here we have labor. Meaning the process of giving birth to a baby. So once you start having contractions, then we can say you are in labor. The midwife stayed with her throughout the entire labor. Additional information. Labor is divided into 3 stages: early labor, active labor, and delivery of the placenta. Early labor is, I think, when you're having contractions when it first starts. Active labor, you're having those big contractions. You need to push out the baby. That's active labor. And then delivery of placenta. So after the baby's born, then you also need to get the sac that the baby was in. That needs to come out too. So we say deliver a baby, deliver the placenta. Placenta is the little sac that the baby is in. Epidural. Epidural. Epidural is a type of anesthesia given during labor to reduce pain. So actually in Japan, epidurals are not regularly available. So for example, the hospital that I go to only does 2 epidurals a month. So you either have to be giving birth right at the start of the month, like the first day of the month, and request it, or they give it maybe for special cases. I didn't have it the first time and I won't have it the second time. I really wanted it, but now I think I don't need it. But yes, in America, I think Canada and other Western countries, epidurals are usually available for everyone. You have to pay an extra cost. Sometimes they don't work that well. I know my friend had an epidural and then it just wore off and she felt everything. So, it's up to the woman to decide, and your doctor, of course, if you need an epidural, want an epidural. Unfortunately, Japan doesn't offer many epidurals. Our example sentence: she opted to have an epidural to ease the pain during childbirth. This word opted, to opt for something, opt to have something, that means to choose it. Okay? She chose to have an epidural. She opted to have an epidural. Okay? An epidural is administered. Usually we use this word administered about like medicine, administer medicine. Administer an epidural means like give, do an epidural. An epidural is administered in the lower back and numbs the lower part of the body while allowing the person to stay awake. Numb means you can't feel anything. So they put it in your lower back like this, and then it numbs the lower part of your body, but you're awake. This word is NICU. NICU. It's NICU. So you can say NICU, but a lot of times we just say NICU. NICU. N is for neonatal. I, intensive. C, care. U, unit. NICU. Okay, neonatal intensive care unit. This is very long to say, so we just say NICU. What is the NICU? The NICU is a specialized unit in the hospital for newborns who need intensive medical care. So they need a lot of extra care. Usually the baby is born very early, or they have maybe something medically wrong, or they need surgery. Then they usually go to the NICU. Our example sentence: their baby spent 2 weeks in the NICU after being born prematurely. Prematurely means too early. Too early. Additional information: the NICU provides critical care, very important care, for babies with health complications or those born too early. Breastfeeding. Breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is the act of feeding a baby with milk directly from the mother's breast. So our example sentence: she found a comfortable chair for breastfeeding her newborn. And then our additional information: breastfeeding is recommended by health experts as it provides essential nutrients and antibodies to the baby. So breastfeeding is one way that we can feed babies. The next way is formula. We simply call it formula. Formula is a manufactured food designed to feed babies as an alternative to breastfeeding. So alternative, like instead of breastfeeding. Or you can do breastfeeding and formula. You can do both if you want, okay? Or if you're able to. They decided to use formula because it suited their family's schedule better. Additional information: baby formula comes in various types, including powder, liquid concentrate, and ready to feed. Okay, next we have bump. I think this is our last word for today, bump. Bump is the visible swelling of the abdomen or stomach during pregnancy as the baby grows. So here we have her bump. Bump is a very cute way, a colloquial way to refer to a woman's stomach when she's pregnant. Our example sentence: she loved showing off her baby bump in her maternity photos. Okay, so maternity photos. Some people like to take maternity photos to remember their pregnancy. So they like to show off their bump. Bump, again, is a very cute way, a loving way to refer to a pregnant woman's stomach, her baby. We often call it a baby bump, a baby bump. Our additional info: a baby bump becomes more noticeable in the second trimester as the uterus expands. So here we have the word uterus, but womb, uterus, same thing, the place where the baby is growing. And that was all the vocabulary I included for this lesson. Again, on my blog, I will have more words, more expressions that you can use to help get you through your pregnancy. I hope you found this lesson useful and enjoyable, and I can't wait to see you in our next lesson. Take care, and I hope you have a great birthing experience if you're pregnant. Bye!